Can you use your business as a platform for pursuing and pushing your passion? Today's episode is about Radha Mohan Durbha from India, who is in her own way helping to push the women's agenda by way of her business. Hello and welcome to Womenp Asia, and I'm your host, Krista Good. This is a podcast where we interview Asian women entrepreneurs for their personal stories as well as business stories. Radha Mohan Durbha is the co-founder and director of Kereses Consulting India Private Limited, a HR consulting business based in Bangalore, India. She speaks 7 languages, including Cantonese and Arabic, and loves traveling and seeing the world. Radha, whose favorite quote is, "Not all those who wander are lost," opens up about what it means to be a woman in business, especially in the recruitment industry in India. Radha considers herself a feminist, and she would try to inject a gender perspective into the hiring process and open more doors for women in the labor force in Bangalore. Some factories, she said, never had a women's bathroom on their premises. She would also try to influence employers to hire women because women do stay longer at jobs, unlike men. These were some of the HR-related yet women-related matters that Radha is trying to push for in her business. She may not run a social enterprise, but it shows that a woman in business can, if she wants, help other women in the ways that she can. Let's get into this episode to find out more. Welcome to the Womenp Asia podcast, Radha.
Hi, Krista. Nice to be here.
So, Radha, where are you physically located?
I'm located in Bangalore, India.
And how is it right now in India for you? I mean, we're recording this, I guess, a year after the pandemic, more or less a year, yeah.
It's been a year after the pandemic, but we are going through right now, second wave right now. So things are again kind of going back in terms of people are more cautious. The social distancing again being practiced. So, yeah.
Okay, so Radha, can you tell us a little bit about how you got started in business? Because I know that you started your business on your 41st birthday. Am I right?
Yeah, so around about that time, yeah.
Yeah.
So 2013, we started the process. 2014, we actually got registered and, we could actually get out and do business. I have been, doing work for others on a very freelance mode for some time in between my career. And I always had this thought, I should kind of, when I'm doing work for others, freelance, why not set it up as a company and train a few people and work with a few people doing the same thing. And that time it was more of PR, content, visualization that I was doing. I'm actually from a marketing background. And but then I got back into my career and I grew for a few more years. And then again, we were faced with this thing that my husband wanted to move. He had to move to Hong Kong. And I had to quit my career, which was a little hard on me. And I started thinking again on the lines of, it's time maybe I should start my business. And the thing at that point in time, I was working in an area which was overlapping with HR. I did a lot of organization development activities. I was also handling something called the balance scorecard in my last company. So I just thought maybe I should get into, the HR analytics side. I'm also good with people. So why not get into something which handles, crisis, where you handle people and their, concerns, their issues. So I came for a brief vacation to Bangalore, and I was discussing with my classmates, and they said, "Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Why don't we get into HR? We can do recruiting also." And recruiting is also practically, you tie both ends. But eventually, when we started out, there were more requirements for recruiting than for HR analytics or for training or other areas. So eventually recruitment became our mainstay business, and we were completely swamped in recruiting. So we got drenched in that. And right now, it's been very difficult for me to say no to recruitment and to move to other areas. In fact, uh, it we built up a trust with people. So my clients usually trust me, and I need to kind of keep up with the trust. So I cannot say no to them. Is where I am. So
what companies do you usually recruit for?
So right now, it has changed over the years. Initially, I was working with only companies where I knew people, or my classmates were at crucial places where they could help me start out with early recruitments when I didn't have clientele or a workload which I could showcase. So at that point in time, I was doing a lot of FMCG, textile industry, and various industries. But right now, I'm more of into engineering products. So I do recruitment for engineering industries, which are very technical, and you're doing a lot of design, mechanical, instrumentation, stuff which actually I haven't studied, but I'm learning a lot.
How does that differ from when you first started your business? I mean, like you said, it has a lot more technical knowledge involved.
Right now, it's more niche and technical. Engineering industries require specific experience for fitment, and my job is to ensure that those specific experiences are there and that knowledge is there. Because if it's on the engineering side, it's more of technical knowledge. If it's on the customer side, it's also knowledge of the market. So
and how do you enjoy your role as a business owner?
I'm loving it because it's like in the last 5 years I have about 3,000 contacts in this industry, and there are people who remember me first thing to refer their friends when they're going through turmoil in career or want to switch, or I get a lot of referral CVs, and this wouldn't have been possible unless I was doing a decent job, even with the candidates or the job prospective applicants.
Yeah. So when you first started your business, was it like easy to get clients, or was there something that you had to do?
It was not easy. We didn't have a body of work to showcase. We didn't have anything. I had to create collaterals with nothing, with no material. And it was very difficult. But then as we added one by one, each, search mandate, each recruitment process, I could build up that body of work. Now I've helped recruit over 150 people so far. And it's each recruitment takes 2 to 3 months. It's not simple. It's a lot of back and forth, a lot of interaction, a lot of hand holding that is required. It's a very, strongly service and human centric process.
So how does someone like you with a background in communications, would I say that? Could I say that? Marketing, communication. Yeah. How does someone like you in marketing and communications develop an interest in human resources and talent recruitment?
I wouldn't say develop. I was always a people person. Wherever I went, I would be friendly across departments. I was finding that always an advantage. I could get work done because of my friendliness with people across departments. But the difference probably was when I got into recruitment, it's still, at the end of the day, communicating to the prospect or communicating to the client. And the space that I fill up for the client is very crucial, because most companies don't have huge HR departments. They have a very skeletal HR department. They don't actually do any PR for themselves. So I have to build up literally a portfolio to showcase to the candidate, saying this company is this, and if you evaluate, you will be working with among the best in this industry, and that portfolio has to be built. And I do that. Each and every candidate, I send them a mail. I have a process with the candidate, which is involving communication at the forefront. So
it comes in useful.
Yeah, it's very useful. I actually, in many cases, companies could not even provide a proper JD, job description for the candidate, and I create the job description. I help them, reach out to the candidate in a professional way. The candidate should not feel, that the company is not a, what do you say, a full-fledged company, or they don't have a proper HR. They should not experience that when an agency or a recruiter is in between. A recruiter has to do that job of actually selling the company to the prospective job applicant.
Yeah, so it seems that your role is a lot more than just getting people into the company, because you have to help sell the company first.
Yes. So therefore, you have to know enough about the company. You have to know what is their turnover, what is the number of people, do they have, do they have firing of people or stuff like that. Very small things, but which influences what the company stands for in the public domain.
Yeah. Is there in your company, you particularly help women in terms of getting jobs, or is it like fair across to the two gender?
Yeah, no, actually, I always ask, can a woman do this job better? And that's how I start my conversation with a client. But some roles, the clients prefer a male candidate, like very much of a travel oriented job, which involves going to very far off places, which may not be safe for women. They prefer male candidates. I understand that, but anything which is in the factory or anything that is, fairly in a city based role, I always prefer to have a female candidate. They also stay long with companies. In India, women are extremely, when they are career oriented, and they do justice to their job and they stay with the company. And whereas you will not find the same quality in men, because they have more choice all the time. So
women tend to be more loyal.
Yeah.
More loyal. Yeah.
They value their jobs.
Yeah. So to me, let me just ask you this question. Yeah. Since you've started, how long has it been since you started your business in this HR consulting?
Feb 2014. So now this is my 6th year completed, 7th year running.
Okay. Yeah. So in your 6 years of running a business, how does it feel like to be a woman in business in India?
Right now, there are a lot of women in business. The younger generation is amazing, because I'm a late entrant. I started in my 40s, but I know people in the generation who are in the 20s who right off their college degrees have gotten into business. And I had that choice at some point in time, but because my family was not for it, I kind of toed the line and followed what my family said. But this generation of women now who are passing out from colleges and who have passed in the last 10 years are amazing. They're very much ambitious, and they're very focused. So there are a lot more women out there. Every incubator in India has a lot of women applying for, incubation assistants and stuff like that. So it's pretty.
So it's exciting times for women entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So then let me come back to this question. I want to first, I asked you about the business, but for yourself personally, because I know you've worked in corporate before, and I know you've also you're still running a business. So which which parts of your life do you like better? Is it the part where you're working with others in a corporate environment, or is it right now when, with your friend running the company?
There are some things I miss about my corporate life. I had a lot. Here I'm a small business at the end of the day. The number of people I interact with face to face is kind of very few. I actually interact with a lot more people online, on mobile, or on phone, but face to face is very less. Whereas when I was working in the corporate sector, I used to have at least 100 people around me in a day. So it was a different thing. I'm a people person somewhere, so I miss that. And otherwise, I like being my boss. There are certain things I prefer here. I'm able to balance out my family and my needs. I have elderly in-laws, elderly parent. So I'm able to devote time for them, which wasn't possible in the corporate life. I would be out from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and nobody can disturb me in between. That was how it was. Now it's not like that. So that way, this has been better. I'm more at peace with myself in my business. Yeah.
If you could turn back the clock, would you still have started your business?
I would have started it off the day I passed out from my MBA. So
Wow.
I've thought over it so many times. I've kind of revisited that. That's why I don't want to have that regret. So that's where I am today.
Okay.
Sorry.
Wow. So what an interesting answer.
Yeah.
Then can I ask you, what was your childhood like when you were growing up? Did you have entrepreneurial parents or relatives or people who kind of inspired you to get on this journey when you were younger?
Okay, yeah, I had an uncle who had a factory and I used to visit his factory quite a bit. I always was inspired by what he's doing because he was making small precision components for other industries. He was a supplier of some essential components. The other thing also that inspired me was my father was also a little bit of an entrepreneur because even though he was in a job with the United Nations, he used to always choose places which are really remote. Like he got posted in Sudan, he got posted in Beirut, Khartoum, and Iraq, Baghdad. When they were literally having skeletal offices, he actually set up entire teams over there. He used to handle census, that is the statistical survey of countries. So I used to find that also quite amazing because he would go there without any knowledge of the local place and overnight, set up shop, set up tent over there and be fluent in the local language and completely become.
Did you go with him as a child?
Yeah, we visited. I mostly stayed in India throughout my school days because of education, because he always was in dangerous places, Uganda, Iraq, all through the war, during the war. So we stayed in India, but we would visit him. And there were a couple of times we were actually evacuated or shipped out of those countries. So it was fun.
So it seems to me that you had adventures as a child.
Yeah,
with your family, with your dad, especially since he was with the United Nations. Yeah. So does that have any influence on what you do now? I mean,
there is one thing. I can't stay put in one place. So I'm my other avatar is somebody who likes to travel. I try to take every opportunity to travel or even go driving out of the city, driving. So I'm part of a group. We do a lot of car rallies. We travel around. And I've done quite a few solo trips with other women whom I don't know. And
tell me about those solo trips. I didn't know about that.
Yeah. I've been to Russia.
Okay.
I've been to Russia. Then I've done some local trips, which is more like, India. But now we are planning another one. So hopefully something will happen. We are planning to go to the Himalayas, that side, or Sikkim sometime soon. Yeah.
Are you a solo traveler by large?
Yeah, I love solo travel because you meet complete strangers and you have to kind of build your rapport, gel with them. And that's quite comfortable with me. Yeah.
So coming back to your childhood, I just wanted to ask a little bit more about that. Is where do you grow up? And I know your dad had to be in different locations overseas, but when you were growing up in India, what was your childhood like? And how did a lot of things around you influence you to become the woman that you are today?
Yeah, I suppose so. We went through a little bit of a dichotomy. So I spent my early childhood with my dad. I was born in Egypt, So I spent my early years in Syria, Egypt, Uganda. And then at some point in time, my father put us in hostel in India. We were in boarding school. So even then, we still did not feel any difference, cultural difference. But once we were out of the boarding school in the family system, we found there were a lot of cultural barriers. And we in India, especially if you're staying with your grandparents and otherwise, you experience certain norms being thrust on you, etc., which you don't agree with, but you kind of just go ahead with it.
So what were some of those norms?
Yeah, like you're a girl, you shouldn't wear a skirt, you shouldn't wear a pant, you should be dressed this way, you shouldn't cut your hair, stuff like that. And I was never okay with all those things. I always had preferred my short hair. So there was a little bit of tussle that happened. So, but it was okay because we were small kids. I was still in middle school, and around that time I was a teenager. So, and at some point in time, my grandparents and uncles and aunts, they kind of moved a little bit away. So it became less of a issue that you have to justify the way you dress or way you are. Yeah.
So then was it hard? Was it hard? I mean, I'm sure it wasn't that easy. It was hard, right?
Because I was listening to the music that is world music of the 80s and pop music. I was reading books of the 80s and popular books. And then here at home, you have something very different going on. You always wonder what's the truth, what's the real thing. So it was difficult. But as long as you accept this is a part of what India is, and most of India is like that. So they still have a lot of strictures for women. They have a lot of norms for women. And you have to kind of work around it. You can't take it head on sometimes. But next generation is very different. They go head on. So maybe we were the cautious few.
And how about now? Your own family. You have 2 children.
A daughter and a son.
Yeah.
So my daughter and a son, I'm bringing up probably very differently, and I haven't forced upon them my ideas of propriety and morals and stuff like that. So also they are growing up in a world where they're embracing a lot of things which are different. So they're more gender specific, gender diverse in their acceptance of people, and whereas our generation wasn't like that.
So I guess you are teaching your children a different way of seeing the world.
I don't think I'm teaching them. Actually, I've told them I let you to figure it out. I'm not going to influence you with my values or my ideas because that will be wrong. That was probably right for my generation, may not be right for you. So you guys are growing up in a different world. So you need to embrace whatever's there around. So even their life is very different. They're a lot on the laptop. They interact. They make friends on the on the go. Whereas we didn't do that, and it's very different. Their interactions are very different.
So I want to ask you this question. Then, who are you as a woman, Radha? I know it has a lot of nuances. I mean, this question has a lot. But yeah, who are you as a woman?
I'm a mom. I'm a wife, I suppose. The daughter phase is gone, so I'm kind of out of that. Probably heading to be a grandma next. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Is your daughter getting married anytime soon?
No. I'm saying maybe in the next 10 years that should happen too. Yeah. So, but at the end of the day, I think I'm a feminist also. So I always. And people would say you're kind of very tough cookie, so I am, I suppose. My idea is that women should have all the freedom that they deserve. They really worked hard for it, so that's where my idea of feminism comes from. Yeah.
Okay, let's go back a little bit into your business. I also want to talk about the name of your business because I think that itself warrants a story that I think you told me, right? Yeah. It's called, how do you pronounce it? Kereses?
Kereses Consulting.
Kereses Consulting. So Kereses Consulting is a very unique name, to be sure.
Correct.
Yeah.
So
how did you come up? How did you come up with that?
So we were 41, as I said, and we were all like, me and my friends were talking, saying we need to explore, and this is that stage in life where you want to kind of you're looking for meaning and purpose in everything that you do. So when we do something, let's do it with purpose. So we just said, we are seekers at this stage. And that word seekers kind of stuck with me. And I said I should do something with that. Seekers seems to be the basis of why I'm doing this. Why am I getting into this HR business, which I have which I have no idea about. So we said, okay, we can't use it as seekers consulting. It sounds weird. So let it be a jumble of the same. So we started working on the jumble and it became Kereses Consulting. And then we said, okay, based on that, we would we consider our job as finders for people, or finders for jobs, So finders is an anagram of friends. And similarly, we found several anagrams which kind of made sense with what we do. Okay, so we said we are listeners, we are silent, we absorb what the people, the clients say, and what the candidates say. We kind of listen to what they want to convey. So we are listeners, we are friends, we are finders, and few anagrams stuck with us, and we said, this is nice. We have Kereses, and we have an anagram for what we do. So we stuck with that name, and it kind of stayed with us. Then we later kind of analyzed, is there a meaning for this name in any other language? So we found that in Hungarian it means something related to being seekers or something like that. So we decided to stick with it. So yeah.
So what a wonderful story. A story that you keep retelling, right?
Yeah.
So then, when I know that you mentioned that when you first started, I think you reached out to your friends, people in companies, to tell them that you now had a business and you were doing HR consulting. But what were some of the toughest challenges back in the early days, if you can remember that?
Yeah. Initially, this whole idea of when you incorporate a company, you have liabilities, you have compliances, all these things were something Greek and Latin, because I always worked for somebody else, so I never had to go through with all these things. And anytime you miss out on some compliance, you actually end up paying a fine, or you actually end up with a penalty. So it became very clear for me in the first year that I have to kind of keep track of a lot of things. Because I was my boss, I was also, managing compliances. I was also ensuring that we don't break the law anywhere. So that was very tough for me. And I know how to do work, but I don't know. These are not some things which I kind of learned. Compliance wasn't part of my job in my previous role. So that was something unique and tough. And now it's simpler, and even accounting and managing your balance sheet, stuff like that, I got help from outsiders. I actually worked with a consultant, and he kind of taught me a few things. So it has been possible for me to manage with minimum staff. You don't need to have a separate person doing this role if you have the support of an outside consultant.
In your business, in the HR consulting business, are there any myths or any misconceptions that, when you usually hear about them, you feel like, oh, I wish I could debunk some of these myths and misconceptions about the business?
Correct. The first thing is women are not good enough for this role, or something like that. That's something I often have to, face up with companies. And but then if it is, they're very, despite many persuasive conversations, if they still stick to the gun that they can't have a woman in that role, that's fine. But I do try to ensure that they do give representation. And today, companies in India are also waking up to the fact that they need to have a gender, balance in in their staff. So there are places where they never had a women's toilet or washroom in the factory because they never had a woman employee. So you have to actually, change a mindset so that they build one. So
Wow, that is quite eye-opening. Not having a woman's bathroom.
Yeah.
So what if someone came to you and say, Radha, I would love to start a business like yours. I mean, what are some of the advice you could give to someone who wants to start a similar business like yours, but probably in another part of the world, or even probably another part of India?
Yeah. So, a couple of people have asked me, how do you run a business? How do you ensure you're able to make it? So I told them there's no surefire formula, but it's just you have to be day in, day out, be present. You have to wake up and hit the road running every day. Whether the pandemic was so bad that there was 6 months when I had zero business, zero billings, and still I wouldn't stop relentlessly calling clients, relentlessly calling people. So you just need to be hitting the road every day, no matter what. So there's a space for everybody in this world. There's a pigeonhole available. It's like if there are pigeonholes, there are lots of empty pigeonholes. You just need to find that pigeonhole and settle or build trust over there and make it yours. So everybody has a space. Even 100 people join this business, they can. So there's so much of dearth of recruiters and support service requirements which are unhandled right now. Literally going wasted.
What would you think would be some of the key qualities that a top recruiter should have? I mean, I believe that you've been in this business because, number one, you are good at it and you've managed to sustain yourself over the almost 7 years. So what would you think would be that unique factor that one should have to be in this business?
Yeah, I believe they should first of all be extremely persistent. That is, you don't give up. I mean, there are. I take 3 months to fill a position. 3 months is not my time; it's actually the client time. They take 3 months. They dilly-dally. They will come back. They will want to see more profiles. That's fine, but I don't give up. You should never give up. This is the business where you shouldn't lose patience. You shouldn't give up. You should just be at it like a dog. You don't give up till the bone is clean. So that's what I do.
The other thing I wanted to ask you, is that the Bangalore traffic we're hearing?
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
So that's the rush hour traffic, right?
Yeah, rush hour, people trying to get home.
Okay.
Yeah, 7 o'clock. Yeah.
So then I want to ask you this question: that what is it like in the daily life of a HR recruiter like you? What do you do? I know being persistent is one of them, but what is in the day-to-day?
It's about 100 calls, managing 100 calls a day and scheduling. So there are days when I'm in a Skype interview. I'm also having calls parallelly. I kind of go on mute and I'm doing my calls. I can't help it. I'm not visible, but I'm on an interview panel, so I can't leave the panel. So I'm also on the calls simultaneously. So some days you're doing 2-3 things at the same time. And then average day, I also do scheduling of interviews, scheduling of client side activity. So I'm also doubling up as their HR person. So this is what a day is: 100 calls plus times when I'm doing 2-3 things at the same time, and also managing schedules. So literally waking up a prospective candidate saying, it's time for your interview. Are you ready? Are you dressed? Did you wear your tie? Are you having your best smile? And sometimes at 11 p.m. midnight, closer to midnight, I'm messaging people, tomorrow is your interview. Please don't forget. It's early in the morning. You kind of have to be ready for it.
So you're literally prepping them the night before?
Yeah, I prep them. The previous day, I also do calls to literally, create that positive mindset, because a lot of people have negative self image. And when they go for the interview with that image, it kind of kills everything. So you have to tell them what's good about them. You tell them and highlight and ask them to highlight this when they talk also. So, you help them actually bag the interview sometimes. So, yeah.
So now I see that your role is like on two sides.
Correct.
On one end, you are, of course, helping the company sell itself to the candidate, right? And tell them all this good stuff about working in this particular company. And then on the other hand, you're helping the candidate sell himself or herself by getting them to be putting on their best coat and tie and clothes, and putting on their best smile and going out there confidently so that they can ace that interview. Yes. So are most of your interviews online these days?
Yeah, quite a few interviews are online. As a result, I end up sitting on quite a few panels. So that takes away time from doing my calls, because it's very human intensive. This business is very, very human intensive. So sometimes my husband says, you're not very present in your life. I say, yeah, I'm present over there in Kereses Consulting. I can't help it. So
you're present when you are out there traveling.
No, I'm present. Yeah, if I'm on vacation, I'm present. If I'm here physically in the place where I work, then I'm more into Kereses Consulting than I am physically at home, or because there's no hours. That's another thing about business. You don't have any. It's even 11 p.m. Then you're messaging, you're sending interview confirmations. You're still working at all odd hours. Sometimes I'm waking up at 6 and fixing something before an interview happens. So,
do you do a lot of recruiting, or at least looking up candidates on LinkedIn?
Yeah, I do. What I do is I have multiple databases. So any recruiter, one of the mainstay of our business, one of the inputs to our business is databases. So LinkedIn serves as another database, and I'm very active on LinkedIn because I use LinkedIn to verify sometimes what is available in the online database like Monster, Naukri, and other databases. So LinkedIn is a very good way of verifying things.
Okay. So you're online, you're interviewing people online.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of work to be done online, actually, for a recruiter.
It's a lot of mental work.
Yeah. Then how do you de-stress at the end of the day? How do you kick back and chill?
Yeah, I actually like to go for my evening walk. My typical walk time is 7:30 to 8:30, or sometimes 8:30 to 9:30. That's a very peaceful time. I like to go for a walk, and then I also do watch a few TV shows, which are, me and my kids watch some things, me and my husband watch some things. So, if I'm free at that time, I kind of watch with them. But I'm not too much into TV. Unfortunately, it doesn't de-stress me. It sometimes actually makes me aware that I have a lot of work to do.
But I think it's the same for a lot of entrepreneurs. I think they don't have much time for TV.
Yeah.
We have a lot more going on in our businesses. So, okay. So I want to ask you some things to do with yourself personally, right? So what do you do if you're pondering a difficult decision? It doesn't have to be business. Just like if you're pondering a difficult decision, what are some of your thought process?
I would always try to write it out. I have this habit of doing strength, weakness, opportunities, SWOT analysis of anything. It's stuck with me for a long time since my MBA. So I usually try to analyze a decision based on what are the things that I'm likely to lose rather than gain by that decision. So whether that impacts my business or impacts me personally in some way. I also like to separate out personal from professional. So my feelings from the actual, what is the outcome. I want to separate those things. So I try to do that. So pondering is always on paper for me. I have to write it out.
So you really have to write it out to see it.
Yeah, I have to see it.
Yeah. So very, very visual.
Yeah, visual.
Yeah. So would you consider yourself a very logical person?
I'm more logical than feeling oriented sometimes. My husband always says, you can just shut off and you can completely, you're very numb, you're very, dispassionate. It's not true. I feel certain things, but then I try to depersonalize everything as much as possible because I don't want to hurt or keep, it kind of stays back quite a bit in my mind.
Yeah. It seems to me that, yes, I think you're very focused. You're very focused on doing the work and getting the job done, right? So that's where I can feel that you're very much like 200% into your business with the prepping and making sure that all your candidates turn up on time. Yeah. Now, if you could turn back the clock and knowing what you know now, what would you tell a younger version of you about life?
Go take the plunge. Go ahead. Go take the plunge. Start your business from day one. Don't wait to 20 years to do it. Would you have enjoyed that? I mean, just say right now, you say, okay, right now there's a younger Radha, and you say, okay, younger Radha. I was very scared. The unknown was always scary for me. Right now, the unknown is quite exciting for me. There's a difference. Time has made that difference.
Or has more travels made the difference?
No, time has made the difference. Yeah.
Okay.
And now I'm not scared of things. If somebody asks me to go to a place, I'm quite happy to go. And I'm not trying to understand whether it's safe, whether it's bad, whether it's good. Right now, I'm in that stage of my life. It doesn't bother me anymore.
I like that. I think that's a great attitude to have. Of course, then you answer my other question. I wanted to ask you why you're no longer afraid of.
What I'm no longer afraid of.
Yeah. I wanted to ask a question. Yeah, but
that time when I was young, I was afraid of loss of respect, dignity, stuff like that, or making a mistake. Mistake was a big issue for me. I wouldn't want to make a mistake. Whereas now I think it's right to make a mistake. Learn from making a mistake. Make mistakes. Go ahead, make a mistake. So there's a difference. That's the difference. The fear of not making mistakes, or you're too scared to even try, then that's bad.
Was there any instance, in your life that you felt that you were afraid of making a mistake and therefore you didn't take that plunge? And now that, much older Radha has realized that it's okay to do that.
The idea of starting a business immediately after my MBA was there. My uncle even broached me. We discussed about it at some point in time, but I never did pursue it because my mom was, very particular. He's saying, get on with it, get into a job. You can't start the business day one. You don't know anything. You will make a sorry figure of yourself. So I didn't want to get into that situation, and that too with relatives, with a family member whom I really, I deeply respect. So I decided to be cautious and follow the path my mom kind of suggested. So.
Okay, now I understand why. Sometimes it is hard when you have family and you tend to listen. You kind of respect them and you want them to also be happy with your decisions in life. Okay. Yeah. I know you've named a few people who you're inspired by, and I wanted to just talk a little bit about these people. So you've named Marie Curie, Mother Teresa, Maya Angelou, Maharani Gayatri Devi, Anandibai Joshi, and Chimamanda Adichie. So tell me a little bit about these people.
These people are fearless. Okay, my biggest influence was Mary Curie because from when I was young, I was very curious about my birthday and who shares my birthday, and I found Mary Curie shares my birthday. So I started reading about her. I read some biographical details and how it was hard for a woman of science in those days, in the early 1900s, and to even demonstrate her knowledge was not possible. So it was literally her husband threatening the Nobel Committee to recognize her, and then they recognized her. But she did so much of work without recognition, and that was unbelievable for me. And she was a big influence for me. I mean, I used to read a lot of stuff that she's done, and I also was a science student, so I was finding what she did in almost self-sacrificial kind of way. She died of radium poisoning, so it was thing. Then Maya Angelou, I used to read about her poems, some short poems, and she was a woman who had a mind of her own. She actually talked about women's freedom in multiple ways, and not only in work and all that. She also talks about sexual freedom. She talks about lots of things. So I found her pretty amazing in terms of the time she lived and what she spoke, and she had to go through a lot of fighting against racism and so many things. So I found that amazing. Mother Teresa was amazing because she came as a young girl to India, to a country which she didn't even know, based on a dream, and just started off her work, and she devoted her entire life to it. I mean, she didn't expect anything, and she didn't initially. She actually probably suffered a lot in India, so I found that amazing. So what she must have seen and what she was drawn to is so powerful, and the purpose is so great. Yeah. So, and I've been reading a few stories or snippets about Adichie, and I really want to, she's written a couple of books which I want to read, but I'm not yet gotten to because I've got this horrible habit because of my, spectacles. I kind of lost interest in reading small print. I want to read literally big print. So
I see. Oh, because of the reading, the glasses,
yeah,
is it?
The glasses, yeah. My eyesight is kind of. So now I'm discovering the world of audiobooks, so audible stuff. So whenever I have a long drive, I kind of listen to stuff on the phone. So that's making up for my bad reading habits.
Yeah. That's good. At least you still get your books, but in audio format.
Yeah.
Okay, so I also know that you quoted this. Not all who wander are lost. I wanted to reference and ask you, what is the meaning, or what is the meaning behind that? Is there something that was said somewhere, or is it Radha's?
Yeah, I think it's a quotation that's often used, especially for people who love to travel. Every travel is a discovery, so it's not about making a mistake or taking the wrong turn. Even the wrong turn leads you somewhere. So I think wandering is a crucial part. In fact, when we were young, we were given a lot of time, freedom to be bored and to let your mind wander. And that was very important to creative abilities. But whereas current generation children do not get to they don't actually sit under a tree and just, use their brain to wander around, right? So they don't do that. They don't, daydream, and like we did. So
they may sit under a tree, but they may want to do an Instagram post.
Yeah, exactly. They're always on the device. So they're tethered to their devices compared to we were just left to be, free outside and just wandering mentally as well as physically. I think it's very important. And it's a part of your self-discovery.
Yeah. And I like this concept that, with self-discovery, you learn so much about the world and yourself and what you are capable of. So then this would also bring me to the question that I want to ask you. What would you say drives you
What drives me? Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't want to have any regrets in life. I want to experience everything. I'm at a stage that I call myself the half life. I'm almost 50, so this is my half life. So I might as well make the most of the remaining time left, experiencing everything. I want to see every joy. I want to know everything. I want to even all those things which I thought were forbidden are okay. They're okay to discover for me. So
what are those forbidden things, Radha? I would like to know.
I'm just saying, as a kid, you grow up saying, okay, this is not okay, this is not okay. I don't judge anything anymore. I don't. So there's nothing which is right or wrong. Everything's situational. Everything is relevant to what you are doing right now. So you have to explore.
Then what is in the horizon for you personally? I mean, of course, you can talk about business-wise, but personally, what's in the horizon for you? More travels?
Personally, more travels, definitely. I have a lot more to go. My bucket list is kind of no longer a bucket; it's become a bathtub list.
Besides travel, is there anything that you would like to do or you would like to see or experience?
The early 40s, I wanted to do a lot of adventure activity, which was more like, gliding, surfing. I wanted to explore those things. I've done that, and I also hurt my legs. So I kind of, now I want to conserve my, health without further damage, but I want to explore. And I want to travel a lot. I want to also do a lot of, walking. So travel in the trekking stuff, so which I can manage without damaging my health any further. So, when I came to East West Center and when I met you, I had a torn ligament because after one of my trips, I had actually jumped and fell into a hole and stuff like that. I literally tore my knee. So I was wearing a knee brace throughout my Hawaii trip. So, and I had to operate, and it has taken me 1 year to recover from that. So I'm very wary of operations. I don't want to go to the hospital anymore. So whatever I do shall conserve and still, enjoy as much as I can.
Okay, so now I want to ask you something a little bit more up close and personal. What's your favorite food?
Oh, I love Southeast Asian food. I love Thai food. I'm a vegetarian, so whenever we eat out, we eat a lot of Thai or Chinese. So I have to kind of make it at home again. I try to make it at home. So I'm always buying all those exotic ingredients online and trying stuff.
I know that you lived for a while in Hong Kong. I think you mentioned that, right? And that was also an interesting part. I guess that influenced kind of like the food they eat, but of course it's a little different, right? Hong Kong food. I think it's a little bit.
Yeah, Hong Kong food. I mean, I could not eat in the canteens because I'm vegetarian. They have a lot of pork, a lot of seafood in everything. So I could not eat in their regular canteens, but I did eat at the Nong Ping, which is the big Buddha. They have not a restaurant. They have a place for all the people who visit the big Buddha to come and eat. And they had vegetarian food, so I loved it. And they used a lot of mock meats and soya alternatives to meat. So it was amazing. Yeah.
And you speak a little bit of Cantonese.
I did. Right now, I've really forgotten quite a bit.
Okay, what about your... well, you mentioned that you don't really watch so much of TV, but do you have a favorite movie?
Favorite movie, okay. Right now, nothing sticks around in my brain right now. But there was a Denzel Washington movie, which I love. I forgot the name. It kind of stayed with me for a long time. Then I loved Interstellar. Interstellar was great. Avatar was great. I love those kind of science fiction kind of movies. Maybe like astronomy and stuff. I love those. Okay. The Denzel Washington movie, I don't get to remember, but it was something about the purpose of life or the meaning of life type of thing. And I like those kind of movies. They leave you with an impression. So,
Your favorite local restaurant?
favorite local restaurant probably will be something Chinese. So there's something called Ho Chi somewhere near my place where I haven't gone to the physical restaurant. I keep ordering food from there. Ho Chi. So it's supposed to be Chinese, Vietnamese, and Thai food. So I always go towards that side of the world.
That part of the world.
Yeah.
Okay. And what about your favorite compliment? The people that, people always compliment you, and what's like the favorite thing? And you feel that you really enjoy people, giving you a certain compliment.
Okay, I don't remember anything. I'm not too good at compliments. This is something I had to kind of learn at East West Center, saying accept compliments. So I never register it. It just kind of let go. Usually in India, it's always about your appearance, the way you speak or your eyes or something like that. My husband used to say my eyes are very honest or deep eyes or whatever. I'm not sure. So,
that's actually a very nice compliment. I've never heard that. I've never really heard that. I mean, usually compliments are like, you're looking good, or you're looking great, or like you're kind and all that. But the eyes part, well, that's truly interesting. Okay. So, okay, we've come to almost the end of our 1 hour together. But before we leave, I just wanted to ask you, what's that one key takeaway that you want our listeners to remember as a result of listening to your story today?
I think, life is about, adventure, explore, and you should let go of your fears and just get into it. You want to see something, you just go ahead. Don't analyze it. Don't go put too much thinking into whether this is right or wrong in life. There's nothing like that. Everything changes according to how you come out of that situation. So take the plunge. So don't risk it all. So go for it.
Okay. And where can people find you online if they like to connect with you?
Yeah, they can find me on Kereses consulting website. Otherwise, they can find me on LinkedIn. I'm also there on Facebook. I have a Kereses page. I also have a page on Instagram. So I have a website called wandereratlarge.com in case they want to find me.
And what does wandereratlarge.com feature or talk about?
Yeah, I used to write earlier quite a bit. So I thought I should start documenting travels. But right now I don't have time for that. So it's kind of stuck in one page. I have to kind of add stuff. A lot of half-published articles still waiting to be published. So I need to touch them up.
Yeah, that's the thing about running a business, right? You're sometimes so caught up with business and life, and especially you, your family, and your 2 children. So there's lots to do. I actually wanted to ask you this because of the pandemic and all that. How have things changed for your business and you? But I guess you answered that because you said right now you're spending a lot more time in front of the computer, arranging interviews and sitting on interview panels and all that.
Yeah, I'm actually physically being part of the company panel when I'm interviewing candidates. So it's a lot more effort. It's double the effort now than it was before. So, yeah.
So thank you so much, Radha, for this hour with us and telling us your story about the business as well as yourself as a woman, and also the things that affect and influence you deeply, especially in terms of the people that you are inspired by. I want to ask you any last words before we end?
That's about it. I feel every woman should take a chance and start something. It's the way you impact 100 more people around you. So it's a lot more purposeful when you can touch so many more lives when you do something on your own. So don't look for the safe, secure environment of the corporate world. by yourself, you can start something and give 100 more people that opportunity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Radha, for a very insightful ending to our 1 hour today. So we'll see you again. We'll see you again for sure. Thank you.
Thank you, Krista. Bye. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to this episode. Get all the links and additional show notes on our website, womenpreneurasia.com. If you like what you've heard, please subscribe. It would definitely help me grow Womenpreneur Asia and have these stories reach out to more women and men. In next week's episode, I'll be speaking to Boon Sri Somchit Ong, who is the co-founder and chief conceptualist of Strategize Technologies Sendirian Berhad in Penang, Malaysia. Boon, as she's fondly known, is the author of a quirkily named leadership book, When the Chicken Dies, Everyone Cries. Boon came from the corporate world where she was a finance and operations professional with over 3 decades of experience. She is most known for spearheading the setup of Advanced Micro Devices' first accounting and financial shared services organization. She was responsible for ensuring that her 200-strong global team delivered first-class accounting services support for the company's entire global entities. Under her stewardship, AMD's Global Business Services is recognized as a global industry benchmark. However, she took the plunge to leave the corporate world, a world she had known for decades, to start Strategize Technologies with her husband Tony. Boon is vivacious, outspoken, and knows what she wants. Join me next week as I speak to Boon and find out how she transitioned from running her own department in a multinational corporation to running her own business. I'll see you next week.